All right, I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. Mine's is called Love Abound. And we're gonna dive into it. All right. Come closer, lean in. Feel the hum of possibility in the air. I am the conductor of this journey, the architect of a tale that will unravel like dust spilling into dawn. Buckle up, hold tight, and let the rhythm of my words guide you. I am here to take you on a ride, one that curves through the marrow of emotion, where echoes of truth and whispers of wonder intertwine. Let go, surrender, and watch the story unfold. The world had never carved space for a love like ours. It tried to reshape us, to press us into margins too small to contain our truth, to hush a story destined to stretch beyond time. But love is an unrelenting flame. It does not seek approval to rise, and neither do we. Loving her was like setting fire to the ocean. Impossible, they said. And yet, there we stood, hands intertwined beneath the bruised purple sky, the city breathing around us. The air was thick with the scent of jasmine and distant rain. The pavement beneath our feet still warm from the day's heat. Street lights flicker like fireflies caught between two worlds, casting long, yearning shadows that stretch towards us, as if even the night itself wanted to pull us close. We drove down highways that sliced through forgotten lands, where sun-bleached billboards preached love and condemnation in the same breath. We had been told to hush, to shrink, to take up less space. I remember the stairs, long, unblinking, heavy, with something unspoken. Judgment clung to the air like the thick southern humidity, pressing against our skin, refusing to let go. Going home for Christmas should have meant warmth, comfort, and a return to something familiar. Instead, it was a slow suffocation. My partner felt it the moment we stepped through the door. My mother smiled strained, her welcome hesitant, her words clipped just enough to remind us that our love was a disruption. My little girlfriend was a uninvited guest at the table, and outside the world echoed her disapproval. A group of men stood on the corner as we walked by, their laughter low, their words just loud enough to be heard, but vague enough to deny. Some folks don't know their place, one of them muttered, his tone slick with something meant to sting. Another just shook his head, the kind of dismissal that was louder than words. It was a holiday wrapped in space, wrapped in silence and side eyes. A homecoming that reminded me some doors only open halfway. They said water and fire could not coexist, that love like ours could not burn in a world that sought to drown it. But here we are, burning, breathing, defying, existing. Our flames flick at the edges of reality that wanted to smother us. A world that tried to convince me that I could not exist as I was, that I could not take up space in this body, in this love. They wanted me to believe that I could not be both, a black trans man carrying the weight of both fire and water, the balance of strength and grace, masculine and presence, yet fluent in the language of tenderness. And I was a lover of every shade of a woman, of every deep and radiant hue the sun had ever kissed. She was dusk and dawn, storm and stillness, an embodiment of divinity in all its forms. And I loved her in every shade, in every form, in every way. She was cinnamon and cocoa, skin steeped in the richness of history and the survival of generations who have refused to be erased. She was bronze and butterscotch, honey and sepia, golden undertones that caught the light like drenched sugarcane fields after a summer storm. The taste of something sacred on my tongue, like the first bite of ripe mango split open by callous hands beneath a Caribbean sun. She was the depth of marrow earth, the luster of cafe con leche, the glimmer of warm amber held against the firelight. She carried the full spectrum of warmth, the embodiment of love braided into every strand of our lineage, into the echoes of our ancestors' laughter. When she moved, it was the grace of something attained, the rhythm of a whisper song, a melody composed by the cosmos itself. Then it was her, the dark mahogany queen. Her skin a masterpiece painted in the richness shades of the universe, deep as the bark of ancient trees, smooth as the finest ebony, a color that held stories older than time, a shade that did not ask to be seen, it demanded it. The rhythm of her laugh felt like a language older than time, and my soul had learned every word by heart. When she spoke, the universe listened, and so did I. To love her was to set myself ablaze in a country that wanted me to smolder in silence. It was 2025, and America still held the noose of silence tight around our throats, still tried to convince us that our love, my existence, was something to be legislated, debated, erased. They carved us out of history with ink stained hands, rewrite the movement we built, stripping the letters from our name like peeling flesh from bone. Policies passed in back rooms behind locked doors with white men in suits decided we were too dangerous to acknowledge, too inconvenient to protect. We watched they smile on podiums pretending to champion equality while slicing us out of the very foundation we laid, as if it wasn't a trans woman who threw the first brick, as if queer, non-binary, and gender non-conforming souls haven't always existed, as if black folk and black women haven't been the backbone of every fight and liberation. They sliced our voices in classrooms, erased our existence in hospitals, criminalized our truth in courtrooms. They told the world we was a phase, a trend, an idea that could be voted away. And as policies stacked like bricks in a wall meant to keep us out, we knew this was more than politics. This was a soul suffocation, a rewriting of history in real time. They wanted us to love in whispers, to exist in the hush of hidden corners, behind doors bolted shut to keep out the light. They wanted me to believe that me, to be a trans, to be black, to love black and brown women, was to be unworthy of joy, of tenderness, of a love that could set the world on fire. But I was never made of darkness, I was made of light. And light does not beg permission to shine. The universe has sent me here to love her fully, to kneel at the altar of her mind, body, and soul, to make her name a prayer and our love a sanctuary. Every time my fingers traced the proud lines of her jaw, every time my lips found the valley of her collarbone, it was an act of worship, a declaration that we were here, that we were holy, that we could not be erased. So I'll be damned if I had to let America tell me I was unworthy. They didn't understand that loving her wasn't just about desire. It was about defiance. Every kiss, every whisper, I love you, every stolen moment beneath city lights was an act of revolution. We were the rebellion they feared. Black, queer, unapologetic, a love story they could never censor. They tried to turn our love into a crime. We turned it into a kingdom. We did not ask permission to exist. We took up space. We did not wait for history to remember us. We wrote ourselves in it. She turned to me then, her eyes dark and endless as the sky, her fingers feathered to light against the roughness of my jaw. They don't know what to do with us. She whispered, her voice steady like the tide. I kissed her palm, my lips brushing against the pulse that beat stronger beneath their hot skin. That's their problem. She smiled then, slow and knowing, a universe of understanding in her gaze. What if we didn't just exist? She mumbled, tilting her head slightly. What if we thrive? I traced the curve of her cheek, let my fingers rest against the nape of her neck, where her pulse hummed against my fingertips. Then let's thrive, I said, the promise thick between us. Let us love so loud the world has no choice but to hear us. She pressed herself against me, her warmth sinking into my bones. Then let's set this shit on fire. And so we love, out loud, in full color, as boldly as the universe attended. And that's my story. Love them now.